Hello and welcome to part 2 of this video on how to write a conclusion. Continuing on from the previous video, we're going to take our basic conclusion that we've constructed and think about how we might jazz it up, how we might make it more interesting and more engaging. There are many ways that you can do this, and the most important way really is to use your own opinion and your own instinct of what will make it more interesting. But these are kind of 4 things that we could use to make our conclusion that bit more interesting. Firstly, we need to present a strong point of view. And we talked a bit about this when we were talking about how to write an introduction. So if you haven't seen that, go and watch that video because it's really important in both your introduction and your conclusion to be really confident about the argument that you're presenting and also sound very convinced by your own opinions. We also need to consider using words from the question and from the statement so that we can show the examiner that we're really answering the question and considering the statement. In this case, we don't have a statement, but if we were to have a statement, we use words from that statement in our conclusion to show the examiner that we're considering the statement as well as the question in our answer to the question. We then are going to look at how the inclusion of alternative arguments might improve our conclusion. If we include other interpretations, other arguments, it really shows that we're very aware of how different texts may be interpreted. And also we're going to look at how our essay relates to larger concepts. And we've already talked a little bit about that when we want to widen out our conclusion to wider context, but we'll talk about a few more ways to do that in a more advanced way. But firstly, let's take a look at the conclusion that we already have, using our conclusion structure that we looked at in the previous part of this video. Despite both texts being from completely different eras, they both display a strong and feminist opinion of what marriage is or should be. Sexton, despite her balanced tone, presents marriage as something which melts down a wife to suit a husband. Bronte, unlike Sexton, does not disagree with marriage as a concept, but shows her belief that it should represent the union of two equals. Both writers have a very different idea of what marriage is fundamentally. Bronte's novel defied the social context of marriage at the time, and Sexton as a writer frequently wrote about issues relating to women, such as menstruation and abortion, in a radical way. So, despite being from vastly different times, countries and literary traditions, both writers radically present marriage from a female perspective. So that's the conclusion that we've already got, and that's a very good conclusion. There is nothing wrong with it. But let's talk about how we might improve that conclusion by including some of these elements that we talked about.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're looking for an amazing A-level English literature resource, join me today in my series of engaging bite-sized video tutorials. Together, we will concisely cover all the important concepts required by your exam board specification, as well as practically apply what we have learnt through exam-style questions, focusing on how best to structure your answers in order to maximise marks. See you soon, and together let's make A-level English literature a walk in the park.